ಬೇಗ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗು 100 ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಬೇಗ 56 ಆಗೋರು 59 ಬೇಗ ವಾಟ್ಸ್ಆಪ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಲಿಂಕ್ 61
ಇದೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
Good afternoon to all. Shall we start the session?
Yes, ma'am. You can mute the participant, madam, as soon as they enter into the meeting. Fazia ma'am, whether the PPT is visible, madam? Can you see the presentation?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay.
Mhm.
The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Professor Fasiha Begum, Department of Commerce and Management, on behalf of Dayananda Sagar College of Arts, Science and Commerce, welcome you all for today's program on career planning and preparation for competitive exam. Now, I request Professor Sahana Shriyan to welcome the dignitaries and the gathering.
A very good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Sahana Shriyan, Assistant Professor from the Department of BBA BCom on behalf of Dayananda Sagar College of Arts, Science and Commerce, welcome you all for today's webinar on career planning and preparation for competitive exam. Firstly, I would like to welcome our beloved Principal, Dr. Nagaraj Shenoy, Vice Principal, Professor Hemant Uppala. I extend a warm welcome to Dr. Suplab K. Podar, HOD BBA, Professor Murugesha BN, HOD BCom. Welcome you, sir. I would like to welcome the resource person for today's session, Professor Rajendra Kumar, Department of BBA BCom, Dayananda Sagar College of Arts, Science and Commerce. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. I extend a warm welcome to all the faculties of DSC, ASC and my fellow colleagues. And last but not the least, I heartily welcome all the participants for today's webinar. Welcome one and all.
Thank you, madam. Now, I request Professor Nivedita K to introduce a resource to the resource person for today's program, Professor Rajendra Kumar.
Thank you, Fazia ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I, Professor Nivedita from Department of BBA and BCom. So, Professor V.R. Rajendra Kumar is a management professional in the area of marketing and HR. He has a decade of experience in teaching MBA, MCom, BBA, BCom students in various colleges and B school. He has a 2 decade of experience in pharma industry and has worked as the area sales manager and regional sales manager in SMS Pharmaceutical.
Sir, you have to unmute, sir.
Yeah. So thank you, ma'am, very much for introducing me. This particular webinar is basically programmed for focusing on the final year students, especially the BCom and BBA students who have a lot of aspirations to get into different jobs. There are many students who will not be knowing about what sort of job opportunities are available. Preparation you have to make. So all these things I'm going to explain today. Now, this is a 2-part series program. In first part, I'm going to explain about the career planning and preparing for competitive exams pertaining to IBPS, Reserve Bank of India, State Bank of India, Railway Recruitment Board, Staff Selection Commission. So these are the competitive exams are going to do it in the first series. The second series taking on how to crack the UPSC exams, getting into civil services. So welcome to this career planning and preparing for competitive exam. Now, any student after completing his BCom or BBA normally will be in a dilemma. So what I'm really going to do after BCom and BBA, if you ask this question to any of our student at the BCom level, they want to complete their articleship and become the auditors, completing the CA exams or CS. And the other category of students is they want to get into a placement given by the college. They want to get into either marketing, HR, finance related job. And the fifth category of students would do a lot of planning acting. So that is where I'm going to focus more. The fifth category of students are those students who don't get into a job, or they get into a job which gives them a flexible amount of time to prepare for a competitive exam. Now, preparing for a competitive exam is not like preparing for a BCom or BBA exam, where students normally study one day before, they refer the scanners, they refer some notes, they take some tips from the faculties, and next day they go and write the exam and clear it off. So competitive exams are not so easy to clear it off. And just I'm going to give an example. If you want to crack any competitive exam, one of the papers that you have to clear is the general knowledge or the current affairs. There's so much of vast amount of information is there. You require months to prepare it. When you talk about current affairs, it can be on politics, it can be on entertainment, it can be on science and technology, it can be in biology, it can be in geography, it can be history, it can be in economics, it can be international affairs. So like there's so much of information is there. So that's why you require a proper planning, a proper goal setting, a focus point of view is very much required to prepare for this competitive exam. So this is where I'm going to focus on today's webinar. Now, one more, the question normally the student basically asks is, can I really get there? Many of the students do, sometimes if you ask them what you want to become, they'll tell, okay, I want to crack the IPS and IAS exam, I want to become a district collector, or I want to get into a police service or something like that. The question is, really I can get to that particular job? That is what you have to think yourself. That is what you have to introspect yourself. The next comes, what are the risks involved? So risk is in the sense the amount of the money what you spend, the amount of time you spend preparing. So sometimes I've seen that my own friends, they have prepared for IAS and IPS, but they couldn't crack it even after 3 or 4 attempts actually. Okay, so ultimately they decide, okay, this is not a cup of tea, and they later on they join for other type of jobs actually. So this is where the risk comes at. And the other one is like, am I sure of the route what I have taken? Am I sure about the career path what I have taken? So at one point of time, the student really gets into this sort of dilemma. So he gets into confusion whether the decision what I have taken is right or wrong. So once again, you have to introspect yourself. The other thing is like, if I want to get into career to competitive exam, so I have to get a lot of information. So where can I get all those informations? Who is going to provide this information? So I have to search so many databases to get the information about the competitive exams, the syllabus, the type of question papers I'm going to get it, all these things. And the most important thing is the subjects what I opted in BCom and BBA are really useful for me for cracking a competitive exam. So this you have to think yourself. Now, competitive exams can be taken by any student. It's not like that only BCom, BBA, even engineering student, a BCS student, even MBBS students, an architecture student, anybody can crack any competitive exam. Because the general papers normally will be on competitive exam is on English, will be on quants, will be on general knowledge, logical reasoning. So these are the 4 common papers which any competitive exams is going to have it. So only thing is you should have a focused view and a clear mindset to prepare yourself for the subjects. And if I don't make it, in case after making multiple attempts, what I'm supposed to do? So if I don't make it, then do I have any other options? Yes, definitely you can have other options, but always you have to set your goal when you are there in BCom and BBA itself. So when you are in the second year, you have to set your goal. So after my completion of BCom, BBA, this is where I want to get into. That mindset, that preparation, that psychological thinking is what is very much required to crack the competitive exam. Many people don't take up the competitive exam. They think, okay, it's very difficult. We cannot crack it. Of course, competitive exams are quite difficult to crack it. So for example, if you take up the civil services exam, the success rate is only 0.02%. It's hardly like 20 people getting into out of 1 lakh candidates. If you take banking services exam, it will be like the success rate is 2 to 3%. So why the success rate is so low? Because they don't prepare well for the competitive exam. You require time, you require dedication, you require focused view on your goal. Only then you can crack the competitive exam. You need not be a very meritorious student. You didn't, I mean, no need for you to have a high percentage of marks to crack these exams. Only thing you require a smart preparation. So this is what I'm going to focus on today's webinar. Now you have to assess yourself. The first step in any career planning is assessing yourself. Please ask this question to yourself. What am I good at? Whether I'm good at cracking any competitive exam, whether I'm good at taking higher education, whether I'm good at doing my business. So you have to ask this question. Okay, you have to know your strengths and weaknesses. So this question can be answered when you know your strengths and weaknesses. And second question is, what do I want to do? This you have to decide well in advance. It's not like that somebody does some competitive exam. Okay, I want to do the same thing. You get inspired from him and you start preparing it. It cannot be done like that actually. So it requires a lot of preparation. I have seen that many of my own friends after graduation, they decided that they want to crack the IAS and IPS exam at any cost. If not IAS, IPS exam, they go back to their village, native village, and they start doing some agricultural work actually. But they will not get into any other job, either IAS, IPS, or get into the other type of job actually. So that is what they have the focused view actually. So that is what you have to have in the competitive exam actually. And where do I start? You cannot start this preparation when you are there after when you come out of the BCom or BBA. So you have to start doing it when you are still doing your BCom or BBA. The right time to prepare yourself for competitive exams is when you are there in the second year. That is where you have to build up your mindset to start preparing for the competitive examination. So please ask these three questions. What am I good at? What do I want to do? Where do I start? So this gives you a self-assessment for your career planning. Now, why career planning is most important for any student? Because career planning involves decision making. It is all about increasing your self-awareness, exploring various career options, acquiring the required knowledge, the skills, the experiences that is going to help you to implement your career choices. Gone are the days where you're going to get a job only based on degrees, only based upon your percentages. There is a required amount of skill set and knowledge is very much required. There are many students who have 80% marks in their marks cards, but they are not able to get the required skill set. So skill set is also equally required. Knowledge, skills, experience is what is going to matter a lot for your career planning. So what factors are going to be there in choosing a career? What are the factors that are going to influence in choosing a career? So the factors that are going to influence in career selection. First one is you have to self-introspect yourself, your skills. So what are the skills required? What are the skills that is demanded in day-to-day the competitive world? These are the skills required. Communicating skills, problem solving skills, teamwork skills. That means you should be ready to work in teamwork. And of course, the younger generation nowadays, they expect to be a tech savvy. So the basic computing knowledge is required and organizing skills. So this is what I mean to say your skills. So when I say you have to develop the required amount of skills, these are the 5 skills you have to develop. Communicating skills, problem solving, working in a team, computing skills, and organizing skills. And at the same time, you have to increase your interest. You have to increase your scientific temper, level of creativity, your socialization factors, other outdoor activities. Because when I say the development of a student, it doesn't mean only career development from the education point of view. It includes curricular, co-curricular, and extracurricular activities also. So if you may be good in sports, you may be good in NCC or NSS, that also matters a lot to get into government jobs in competitive examination, because there are certain reservation quotas are there. Say for example, I completed my C certificate in NCC. The chances of getting into government job is much more because there are certain reservations given for those students who complete C certificate and NCC. Similarly, if you complete your certain exams in after NSS scams or anything, you'll be able to get into government jobs. So these reservation categories are going to help you to get into a job. So therefore, you have to develop your interest in all these areas, and you should develop the values and the motivations. So what are those values and motivations? It includes the security, the money, helping nature, others, work-life balance. Suppose if after graduation you get into a job, at the same time you are planning for cracking any competitive exam, you should know how to balance the time between your job and your career. So you have to balance that. Actually, that is where the work-life balance is going to come at. And of course, your personality matters a lot. Your personality is like a mirror. It's going to reflect your reflections. Okay, so your personality is determined by what extent you're going to exhibit high level of perseverance, how much you are cautious, how much you are outlooking or outgoing, and how calm you can be. Okay, so normally you would have seen that whenever you go for an interview, they'll put you under stress to see that to what extent you're going to maintain your calmness in attending the interview. So these are the factors. Apart from that, your location plays an important role, where you are located. If you are located in an urban area in a city like Bangalore or Mumbai or anything, your chances of exposure is more into this sort of thing, because you will be exposed more about these things. And qualification also matters. Of course, basic qualification is very much required. BCom or BBA degree with a good decent amount of percentage is very much required, because that is the need of the hour. So nowadays they expect you to have BCom BBA with first class minimum is required. And of course your contacts also matters a lot. Please try to develop your contacts. So contacts can be through your relatives, your neighbors, your friends. So these contacts are going to help you out in designing a career. So these are the areas or the factors where you have to focus more in developing your career. Now, this is a self-assessment thing that I was telling. This is where you have to introspect yourself. The important step in career decision making is developing self-awareness. So make yourself self-aware about the career opportunities available. Start reading newspapers. Look at important the magazines which are going to highlight about the career opportunities in public sectors. Develop your interests, values, skills, experiences. Set a predefined goals. And they say that information is a power. We live in an age of information technology. Information is definitely a power, because gathering information is what is going to help you in deciding a career. So interest, values, personality, skills are most important thing actually. And apart from that, you should have right aptitude and abilities to crack the examination. That means you should have a little bit of smart enough to understand the demands of the market, the requirements of this competitive exam to do it at. So this is where you have to focus more on. Now coming to the competitive exam, in this today's webinar, I'm going to focus on the competitive exams of IBPS, SBI, probationary officer, Reserve Bank of India, regional rural banks, and staff selection commission. So in the second series, I'll try to focus on UPSC exams, focusing mainly on civil services examination. Okay, so why competitive exams are conducted? Why the public sectors are conducting competitive examination? So there are more vacancies are there. These vacancies are created because of annual retirements. So many people working in public sector, they take VRS, voluntary retirement scheme. They exit from the companies, so automatically the vacuum is created for recruitment. And at the same time, the demand for jobs is also increasing. India is a growing economy. All the sectors are booming up. When the public sector is also booming up, they're also becoming more and more autonomous. So they're also equally competing with multinational companies. So definitely they require a lot of talented people. So automatically a big vacuum or a gap is created for recruitment. So these competitive exams are also conducted to identify the knowledgeable candidates. So these exams basically ensure that The best people are getting to jobs actually. So best people get into best jobs. Okay, and eliminate the below average candidates. That is one of the major criteria for conducting exam. So if you look at any competitive exam, they conduct prelims, they conduct mains, they conduct the interview. Why they conduct this thing in 3 different stages? Because they want to remove the below average candidates from the job act. So pick up the good candidates who have right aptitude, intelligence, reasoning ability, capacity to comprehend in any subject. That means you can take up the multiple tasking, capable of making correct decisions, quick decisions, and try to fix problems, because they want people who can do all these things. So that's why they check the candidates' ability to this particular competitive examinations. And ultimately, so the competitive exams are basically meant for selecting the best candidates for right job. Now, these are the competitive exams that can be taken by our BCom or BBA students. The first set of category of exams is the cracking through CAT exam. You know, the CAT exam is a entrance test meant for to get into IIMs. There are so many IIMs branches up there in India, so you can get into IIMs. At the same time, you can get into other MBA competitive exams of XLRI, IIFT, SNAP, and other things. So this is one type of category of competitive exams. Then, of course, you have a civil services exam like CSE for getting into IAS, IPS, or Indian Revenue Services. Then, of course, you have bank probationary exams for to become a probationary officers in a public sector banks. Then you have a GMAT and GRE. This is basically to seek to settle abroad. If you want to get migrated to foreign country, settle in a country like Canada, US, New Zealand, or Australia, then this is the right choice. The countries like Germany do give a lot of free education for the Indians, foreign candidates. They take care of all your requirements. Only thing you have to crack those competitive exams. So if you are able to get into this GMAT and GRE exams, so your door is open for to get into an European country and US, and you can get their master's degree in finance or accountancy. Even you complete your MBA there, and at one point of time you can get a green card and you can settle there. So this is for those students who get into abroad. So for that you have to crack this exam, GMAT or GRE. Then you have a short services commission exams or SSCs. So this is basically to become the income tax officers, audit officers, sub inspectors, accountants, income tax assistants, and so on. So these sort of exams are shortlisted under SSC. Then of course you have a railway recruitment board, and exams are called railway entrance exam. So these are basically to get into the central public sector job, that is into railways department. So that Britishers, when they left India, they gave 2 things to us. One is English, other one is the railway system. Our railway system is biggest in Asia, the second biggest in the world. More than 20 million people are employed in Indian railways. So we have a lot of ample opportunity to get into the Indian railways part. So these are the list of competitive exams that our BCom and BBA students can focus. So these are the 6 areas where you can focus yourself. So therefore, you have to decide which exam is suitable for you, and according to that, you have to plan. So that is where planning comes at. So that is where your career goals have to be set. So I'm going to start with the first set of exam through IBPS. So IBPS stands for Institute of Banking Personnel Selection. This is basically an exam conducted for various posts. So you have what is called CWE exam. It's called Common Written Examination for probationary officers or management trainees. Then you have CWE for Clerical Examination, CWE for Specialist Officer. Then you have Regional Rural Bank Officer or Assistant Admin Officer for rural banks. So that means the banks which are operating in the rural areas, which comes under the public sector banks, you can get into that. So these are the 4 different types of exams that you can take up through IBPS. What are those exams? PO, that is probation officer or management aptitude test. I mean the management trainee thing. The second one is clerical job. The third one is a specialist officer. Specialist officer is basically to get into system side. Actually, suppose if you want to become a system administrator, or if you want to become a database architect, or if you tech savvy or done some sort of computer course and anything, then definitely you can become a system specialist. So that is basically meant for the computer savvy people. Then RRB officer, of course, you can get into some regional rural banks, so-called Grameen banks. You can be deputed there and you can work for some time and you can come to the metro cities. Now, these are the various banks which are participating in this IBPS exam. Some of these banks are merged together. Today we have around 7 major banks which are going to be a part of this IBPS. So these are the banks which normally enter into this IBPS exam. So IBPS is the common platform for all the public sector banks, what you're seeing here, to get a job in the banking areas. Now talking about the clerical examination, what are the eligibility conditions? The minimum age requirement for this exam is 20 years. Maximum, of course, you have 30 years. And of course, you come under reservation category. You have a certain relaxation. If you belong to SC/ST category, 5 years relaxation is given. And if you're coming from OBC non-creamy layer, you have 3 years relaxation. Person with disabilities, 10 years relaxation is given. And if you represent any ex-servicemen, this thing, or you come from a defense or anything, you are commissioned officer in any Navy or Air Force or something like that, you get an extension of 5 years. So the basic educational qualification for IBPS clerical examination is you have to be a graduate in any discipline. You can be a graduate in any course, BCom, BBA, BA, any stream or engineering, architecture, anything. But you should have a degree from a recognized university, which is recognized by the Government of India. Now to apply for this exam. These exams you can apply on the online mode. You can download the application from the IBPS website. You can fill up the details for a specific examination, what you're going to take, clerical, probationary officer, or something like that. And you have to make the payment by online mode, by either debit card, credit card, net banking. You have to submit your application. You'll be getting a PIN number, or we call it as an enrollment number, which you can keep it for further referencing. So just like any competitive exam, you have to apply online. Now the area of selection will be like this. The selection criteria goes like this. The procedure goes like this. The first one is written examination. These examinations are basically conducted to check the efficiency of the candidates, mathematics, general knowledge, English, and marketing. So these are the areas where they're going to test your skills. Followed by there will be a personal interview to check the candidate's personality, and based upon that, appointment letter will be given to clear the exam as well as the interview. And he or she has to undergo a training for a minimum of 6 months in a different places, so that the candidates will rotate on different platform and domains, so that they get into totally comes to 100 marks. And you can see that the duration given for this exam is just 1 hour. That is 60 minutes. You have to write a paper of 100 marks. So it is like 20 seconds is given for one question. So that much of amount of preparation is required for you to crack this examination. 1 hour, 100 marks questions, you have to crack it. 60 minutes, 100 marks, almost like 20 seconds or 25 seconds max that you have to spend on writing the answers for these questions. So this is the pattern of the preliminary examination for under IBPS. Now, next one is the mains. Those who qualify for Prelims are taken for main exam. Main exam is for 200 marks. You have 5 components there: reasoning, English language, quantitative aptitude, general awareness. Here they're going to especially focus on banking industry. They will try to test your general knowledge in banking industry, and of course computer knowledge. Each of these areas will be for 40 marks, 40 questions, totally 200 marks paper, and the duration given is 135 minutes. 135 minutes, that is what it's like 1.5 hours. So you have to clear 200 marks paper in 135 minutes. So once again, 20-25 seconds is what you get for clearing one question. So that is the amount of preparation you have to make it. So first phase is prelims. Those who are disqualified, they are removed out. Only qualified people are put on the main entrance exam. So those who clear for main, they'll be selected for shortlisted for the interview. The success rate of this IBPS exam, frankly speaking, is about 1.5%. Sometimes it may go to 2%. This year it was about 2%. Only 2 out of 100 aspirants may actually get a job in bank. That doesn't mean that it's very difficult. We may feel it very difficult. Only 2 people are getting selected out of 100. Why only 2 people get selected? Because only 2 people are focused on their career. Until unless you don't focus on a career, you cannot crack these banking exams. Okay. Banks select freshers for their aptitude training in banking, enabling them to move into the value chain. So those who get into probationary officer, they get into admin job. At one point of time, they become a branch manager, or they become the sometimes even a divisional manager, regional manager. So up to that extent, you can get into the career. Now, if you look at the penalties are also given. You will be getting 1 mark for each of the questions, what you're going to answer it correctly. At the same time, if there is a wrong answers, there will be penalty of 0.25 marks. That means 1/4 of the marks is deducted if you make any mistake. So therefore, you have to be very careful in answering these questions. Now, interview is basically conducted for 100 marks. The minimum qualifying marks in the interview will not be less than 40%. For general candidates, for SC, ST, OBC, PWT candidates is 35%. The weightage ratio for common written examination and interview will be 80-20. That is 80% of marks will be on written exam, 20% of marks is on the interview. So based on that, they will shortlist the candidates and appointment letters are given for the candidates to take up the job in the banks. So that is how it goes on. So these are the examination centers in Karnataka. You can write this IBPS exam online. Previously it was offline, now they made it online. You can take up this exam in Belgaum, Bengaluru, Bidar, Gulbarga, Hubli, Mangalore, Mysore, Shivamogga, and Udupi. And examination fees around 600 rupees for general candidates, SC/ST, PWT, and ex-servicemen. You have to pay only 100 rupees to get into enroll for the examination. Now coming to the SBI competitive examination, State Bank of India. Now IBPS is basically meant for non-SBI banks. So whatever the list of the banks are shown, these banks basically conduct exams for IBPS, but SBI has its own nodal agency for conducting examination. So therefore, these exams are basically called as SBI competitive examination. There's not much difference between the IBPS and the SBI, more or less the same, but a little bit change will be there. Now under SBI, the BCom BBA students get into probationary officer job, clerical, who will be enrolled as a junior associates, specialist cadre. These are for IT people like BCA students who have some knowledge about the computers or software, anything. They'll be taken into specialist category. Probationary officer examination is basically for management cadre. That means you're going to start your career as a clerk and admin thing. Later on, you're going to move into a assistant manager, branch manager, like that. You'll be going to climb the success ladder. And over a period of time, at one point of time, definitely you can become a regional branch manager. To that extent, you can climb the ladder of success to SBI probationary officer. And it is one of the most aspired job. Almost like more than 2 to 3 lakh students appear for this probationary officer exam, minimum each and every year. Okay. Now the most important thing, you may ask a question: what is the point of entering into this probationary officer? What is the advantage I'm going to get it? First and foremost thing you have to understand: whenever you get into public sector job, your career is safe. That means you're going to have a stable career for the rest of your life. So as per the 7th pay scale review, this is the notification given by the government for probationary officers. The starting pay scale is 27,620 with 4 different advancements at the period of 3 to 4 months. Your pay scale gradually increased from 23,700. One point of time it increases to 42,020. This is just a basic salary. Apart from that, you will be eligible for DA, HRA, lease rental, CCA, medical, other allowances, perquisites, and other things. So total compensation per annum cost to company will be minimum 8.20 lakhs to maximum 13.0 lakhs, depending on the place of posting. If you're posted in metropolitan city, because the cost of living is very, a salary about 13.08 like 8 lakh per annum. This is per annum. Just think about a BCom, BBA graduate getting this much of salary is not a very easy thing. You will not get this sort of salary in other things. This is where the advantage comes at it. Apart from that, you will be getting a concessional loans. You can get a loan, education loan for your children. You can get an housing loan. You can get your vehicle loan at a very affordable interest rate. Apart from that, you also enjoy a power. When you become a branch manager, under you, there will be more than 50 candidates will be working under you. So you have a sufficient amount of power. So this is what comes in the public sector. That's why people want to get into public sector, is because of good salary, stable employment, and also you get a good amount of power. Imagine that you become an IAS officer, you become district collector actually. So entire district will be under your control. Okay, to that extent you can execute a power actually. So next to the politician, it is the bureaucrats who control the administration. To that extent, people enjoy the power. That's why lakhs of people do aspire to become an IAS officers actually. So that is the advantage what you get in public sector banks. So this is what I wanted to tell. So the minimum pay scale will be 8.20 to 13.08 lakh per annum. And the minimum age limit is 21 years. Maximum age limit for this PO is 30 years. So the number of attempts, of course, you cannot keep on writing these exams. There is a certain cap on the number of attempts. If you are under general merit, 4 attempts you can make it. After that, you cannot clear up this exam. PWD 7, OBC it is 7. If you belong to SC ST category, n number of attempts you can make it for clearing the SBI examination. If you are into general merit, only 4 attempts are given. 5th attempt, you are not eligible to take up this examination. So that is also they have defined it. Now SBI exam pattern will be more or less like IBPS. So 1 hour, 100 marks, English, quantitative aptitude, reasoning ability is what you have to do. That is prelims. Mains objective test for 2 hours, 200 marks. English, data analysis and interpretation. So this is one thing which is different from IBPS. Marketing, computer, GK, reasoning ability. Then you have a second part, which is called descriptive test. So descriptive test for 1 hour, 3 marks. Here you will be able to write English letter writing and essay writing. If you see any of the competitive examination is mainly focused on 4 things. 1, English, quantitative aptitude, reasoning ability, and general knowledge. These 4 things are required today to take up any competitive examination. Any competitive examination is based on these 4 areas. So that is where you have to focus more. In the phase 3 will be group discussion and personal interview. For group discussion and personal interview, the total marks is 50. So you have to go into phase 1, after that phase 2, then phase 3. Only then will be eligible to get into probationary officer job. So that's why I told you the success rate is very low. Okay. Now coming to the clerical examination, this is day-to-day clerical the jobs what you see in the banks, the people who do into teller system or who into cash disbursement or do all those clerical day-to-day jobs, they get into this examination. For them, the pay scale starts from 19,900 with 2 advancements. That is what you are getting. Over a period of time, your pay scale will increase. I think you can see the below the right hand side. The pay scale starts from 17,900. Over a period of time, increases to 19,900. Plus, you'll be getting other allowances, whatever the allowances are told. City Cosmopolitan Allowance, DA, house rent allowance, transportation allowance, educational allowance. Like that, you'll be getting n number of allowances. So for this, he or she should have a valid degree from any discipline from any recognized university, and your age should not be below 20 years, not above 28 years. So this is the requirement for clerical examination. Now, next coming to RBI. You know that RBI comes under it is basically called the bankers bank. They also call it the lender of last resort. You know that all the the major monetary policies are decided by Reserve Bank of India. So if I want to get into RBI, there are separate RBI exams are there. So this RBI or Reserve Bank of India conducts the examination for recruitment of candidates into the various jobs under RBI, and it is an apex bank. So it's the bank which controls all the both private as well as the public sector banks in India. It is the bank which is responsible for formulating the banking policy. Banking policy in the sense all the monetary policies are done by Reserve Bank of India, and also they meet the currencies, they control the forex reserve and everything. So here you have different types of exam. I want to focus only for BCom BBA point of view. So for that, I want you to focus on this RBI Grade B exam. Okay, RBI Grade B exam is for graduates. So you can clear up this exam. You can get into different departments. There are three main departments under Reserve Bank of India. First one is Direct Recruitment, DR, General Cadre, Department of Economic Policies and Research, DEPR. This is where all the annual research been done in the banking sector, in economic sector. You know that Reserve Bank of India do publish a lot of reports. And who is going to do all these things? These are the people who work under economic policy and research. They basically do all this research. Then you have Department of Statistics and Information Management, called DISM. These are the three areas where you can get into Reserve Bank of India. So the age limit is 21 to 30 years for graduates. And here also we have three different phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. The pattern is more or less the same. When it comes to the salary, just look at the salary. The annual salary for RBI Grade B employee starts from 12 to, it goes up to 14 lakh. 14 lakh. This is just a salary. Apart from that, you get so many other perquisites, benefits, loans, other things, which comes to around 16 to 20 lakhs per annum. That is the amount of salary you can earn it at. Okay, so that much money you can earn just being a graduate and able to crack this exam. So that's why I want you to focus on this one. A graduate getting this much big salary is definitely a big salary. Okay. Now these are the relaxation given for age for RBI exams. SC/ST 5 years, OBC 3 years, physically handicapped 10 years, physically handicapped for OBC and ST, it will be like 13 and 15 years. Then you have one more exam called Rba Assistant Exam. This is for admin jobs, day-to-day jobs in the Reserve Bank of India. This is basically a clerical job. This is an assistant cadre job. So for this, the age limit is 21 to 28 years. So this is the pattern of exam that you have to clear: phase 1, phase 2 for this clerical job. So the paper more or less the same. So once again, coming to salary, this is the salary what you get monthly. This is just a the basic salary 14,650 gross. Emoluments will be 32,528. Apart from that, we'll be getting other perquisites and all. That will be more than 50,000-60,000 rupees per month. Okay. Then next, I want to focus on Railway Recruitment Board, Railway Recruitment Board or RRCB, Railway Recruitment Control Board. You're going to find hundreds and more than 100 type of jobs under Railway Recruitment Board. But I want to focus mainly on Railway Recruitment Post focused in Group A and Group B, and non-gazetted Group C and D. Okay, you have different types of exams, but I want to focus only on certain groups of exam, which is meant for BCom and BBA students. If you are taking up Group A post, this is carried out by UPSC appointed to civil services. Now, those people who crack this UPSC civil services examination, they get into this A post, Group A post. Okay, but Group B is not open directly. So Group B post link section officers grade upgraded from Group C. That means those employees who are under Group C are upgraded to Group B. So this is a type of a post created based upon deputation or based upon your experience and your caliber. Now these are the different types of jobs graduates can get actually. So I want you to focus on Group C and Group D. Group C, these are the technical, non-technical jobs are available, like clerical jobs, station master, ticket collector, commercial apprentice, traffic apprentice. You just ask any ticket collector how much of money, how much of salary you're going to get it. You'll be getting somewhere near to 1 lakh rupees. That is the amount of pay a ticket collector is getting at. Okay, so and if you are coming from an engineering background, civil, mechanical, electrical, telecommunication engineers, there's a lot of opportunities in the Railway Recruitment Board, and moreover, this is a central government job actually. So whenever there is a pay revision, immediately central government jobs gets revised actually. And you have a Group D post. So these posts are basically meant for various disciplines like trackman, helper, assistant, safai wala, gunman, peon, and all. This is a Group D post. Right? So those who cannot get into Group C, so at least you can get into Group D. Right? Now getting into RRB, non-technical popular category. It's called NTPC, non-technical popular category, RRB. Now RRB, Railway Recruitment Board, conducts a non-technical popular category examinations for various posts in railway division sectors across the India. Now these are the jobs that are basically taken: junior clerical job, come typist, account clerk, come typist, timekeeper, train clerk, commercial come ticket clerk. Age limit is between 18 to 30. Ma'am, am I audible, madam? Because there was a connection breakdown and immediately it exited. Hello.
Sir, you are not audible, sir.
No, I can hear your voice. Can you hear my voice, ma'am?
Now it's audible, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Can you see the PPT, ma'am?
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Okay. Now, these are certain other requirements apart from educational qualification. Physical fitness is also very much required. There are certain medical standards are prescribed, so that you have to clear it up. And RRB NTPC exams are basically for BCom and BBA students, non-technical exams. So this is a purely computer-based exam. So here you have stage 1, stage 2. Then typing skills are very much required to become a clerk in a railway department. Typing exam clear it up. Then medical examination, document verification, all these things are going to go over. So this is the pattern of paper that will be there for RRB NTPC. So more or less the same type of paper: examination 1, examination 2, prelims and mains. This is how you're going to have an examination. Then look at the pay scale. So pay scale for NTPC salary, basic pay scale will be 19,900. It's the basic pay. So look at the grade pay, DA, travel allowance, HRA, all comes to 28,696. Apart from that, you'll be getting a vacational leave. You can take your family to other places. They give free train tickets. They also give education allowance for your children. And if you get into, you want to get into some higher education, for that also they'll be giving loans and other facilities and benefits and other things. Now, for a traffic assistant, the total pay will be around 35,416. And for clerical thing, that is commercial clerk, tools guard, timekeeper, senior timekeeper, the total pay will be around 39,856. So this is the bifurcation of the salary as part of the 7th pay commission. And this is for commercial apprentice and station master. 48,696 what we'll be getting. Apart from that, we'll be getting other benefits also. Okay, so next I want to go to the other type of computer exam. This is basically for staff selection commission. It's also called as combined graduate level staff selection exams. This is basically to get into government departments. So this is to recruit the staff for various posts in various ministries, law ministry, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of HR, HRD. So like that, you have different. You want to get into this government job. If you want to work in Parliament, if you want to work in Vidhan Sabha and all, this is the best job to get into that. There are more than 500 different types of jobs are there. So certain jobs I have focused here, keeping the BCom BBA students in consideration. These are the various ministries you can work. You can work as an assistant in ministry and departments of various government organizations. First thing is to get into Central Excise and Customs. If you want to become a custom official, you want to become a clerk in a customs department, excise department, so you have to clear the SSC. Income tax inspectors, preventive officers in customs, examiners in customers, sub-inspectors in CBI, Central Bureau of Investigation, okay, Central Bureau of Narcotics. And if you want to get into as an assistant enforcement officer in Directorate of Enforcement, Department of Revenue, if you want to become a divisional accountant or a junior accountant or an auditor, this is the best exam. If you want to become an auditor, officers, so in C and AG, CGDA, CGA, and other things. C and AG basically includes the Controller General of Accounts, Controller General of Defense Accounts. This is the best job. But to become an auditor, apart from BCom or BBA, we should have even have a CA degree. CA is mandatory there, or at least MCom is mandatory. MCom or CA is mandatory to become an auditor. So this is where you can get into that. So you can become an accountant, a junior accountant. You can become a tax assistant in CBDT and CBEC, that is Central Board of Direct Taxes, and cross-border e-commerce tax official you can become, and you can become a compiler to the Register of General of India. So like that, you have a different options are there actually. Now coming about the selection criteria and staff selection exam. So all these jobs more or less have the same type of thing. Certain jobs do have a specific requirement, but otherwise it's more or less the same. So you have a 3-tier system. The first one is computer-based exam, prelims, mains, computer-based main exam, that is tier 2. Tier 3 is pen and paper mode, descriptive paper. So this is a offline exam. And tier 4, they have a 4th level of examination, basically test your computer proficiency, data entry skills. So this is how the exams are conducted, 4 different tiers. Tier 1 will be shortlisted based upon that. Tier 2 and 3 exams are conducted. So, so tier 2 and 3, you can get through that only if you are qualified in the tier 1 exam. So like that, you have 4 types of exam: tier 1, tier 2, 3, and 4. So this is how the exams will be conducted for Staff Selection Commission. These are the papers. I don't want to go in detail because it becomes very elaborate and descriptive. You can just refer the website for all the details. So tier 1 is for 60 minutes, tier 2 is 120 minutes, tier 3 for 60 minutes. So these are the papers that you have to go through it. And especially for CGL post salaries, you can just look at that. Salaries will be 1,51,000. It starts from 47,600 to 1,51,000. Pay scale, the pay levels. Pay level 8, 7, 6. It keeps on increasing. So at 8 level, you'll be getting 1,51,000. At the 4th level, you'll be getting 81,000. So that is how you'll be getting salaries for different jobs that you take up at. You can look at the salary what the inspector of income tax is getting at. Okay. And I want to give a certain tips how to prepare for competitive examination. You may ask a question, okay, sir, it looks all beautiful, beautifully well designed thing. Or tell me how to prepare for competitive examination. Please listen carefully to what I'm telling here. How to prepare for competitive examination. Always start early. Competitive exams is not like BCom BBA exam. You have to start early. It's the right time to start your competitive examination is when you're there in the 2nd year. Okay. So at least 1 year of preparation is required to crack the examination. Second thing, know the syllabus, weightage of topics and pattern of exam. How do you come to know that? You can refer banking exam. There is a separate journal called Banking Guru. This is basically meant for professional officers of State Bank of India, Reserve Bank of India, IBPS. Please refer this journal, or you can refer this competitive success. I think many of you are aware of this competitive success. It is there in our library. Please go through this. You will get all the toppers, their interviews, their how they crack the exam, what type of question papers are coming, what are general knowledge are there. And one more thing, important thing is a Pratyoka Darpan. If you are subscribed to Geo, you have this thing, can refer this in your Geo app, free of cost. So these 3 competitive journals is what you require. So banking good is basically meant for banking exam. Competitive success and Pratyoka Darpan, you can refer for any other competitive examination. Okay, so if you go through these magazines and all, you'll come to know the syllabus, the weightage of topics, pattern of examination. You'll come to know about the interviews given by these toppers. You can see the one of the toppers of IAS 2018-19 batch in the interview. So they'll give you certain tips how to prepare for competitive exams and all. And the third thing is make a comprehensive study plan. You have to put a timetable. According to that, you have to prepare. Minimum 4 to 5 hours daily, you have to prepare for competitive examination. Now you may ask a question, sir, we'll be there in the college for attending classes 3 o'clock, what to do? No problem. After 3 o'clock, sit up to 5 o'clock. In the library, your library will be opened up to 5:30. Sit and prepare for competitive examination. Have a habit of reading a newspaper. Please keep this in quote. Always have an habit of reading 2 newspapers every day. Many of our students, what they do, open the newspaper, they look at what movie is being released today, what movie is going to come in the next week. Kindly don't look at that. Read the complete newspaper from first page to last page. Refer Times of India, Deccan Herald. Completely read minimum 2 papers every day. This is what you have to do. This is how you build up your general knowledge. This is how you build up your competitive skills to crack these exams. Okay, because there's a vast amount of information which you have to digest. You cannot do it in 1 day, 2 days. You require at least 6 to 7 months planning, or sometimes it may require more than 1 year planning. So the best time to prepare for this one is in the second year. That's why I'm stressing on that. Always study easier subject first. If you think that you're very good in English, first prepare yourself for English. Later on, you can prepare for advanced and other papers. Refer previous year question papers. Once again, question comes, where can I find the previous question papers? Please refer these journals. Competitive Success Review, Pratyogika Darpan, you will get all the information about the budget, about monetary policies, about the business, everything you'll get there. Please have an habit of reading these Competitive Success and Pratyogika Darpan. It is there in our library. Please refer those magazines. Please go through that. You'll get an idea. You'll come to know what type of exam I can prepare it. And read 2 newspapers every day. Please update yourself. Please keep in mind, knowledge is always a power. Okay, more knowledge means more power it gives you. Then previous year question papers, of course, you can refer that, and focus on self-study. Many students do ask whether I want to get enrolled for any coaching center to clear up all this exam. I say no, not required, not required. You are the best person to decide what subject you can read. So focus on self-study. If you look at the top IAS toppers, the crackers who have cracked these exams, ask them, they will tell they are prepared on their own. They are prepared on their own. Self-preparation is the best preparation. So these are the points which I want you to keep. So I'm going to repeat this point. Always start early, know your syllabus, weightage of topics, pattern of exam, make a comprehensive study plan, put a timetable, prepare according to that. Study easier subject first, prepare previous year question papers, refer the previous year question papers in all these magazine journals. Of course, you can get it from YouTube and Google, and focus on self-study. This is what the thing I want to tell for our students. So with this note, I'm going to end this session. I hope that we're able to get a valuable knowledge about preparing your career plan and also how to crack a competitive examination. So in case if anybody is having any questions, you can ask me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing the valuable and vast information with us and enhancing our knowledge. It's truly appreciable. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now the platform is open for QA session. If any student want to ask the question to the speaker, I request to post the question in chat box as well as in YouTube. Participants are requested, if any queries is there, post your question in chat box. Participants, if you have any queries, you can post your question in chat box. Okay, fine. I request all the participants to give your valuable feedbacks. We will be posting feedback link in the chat box as well as in YouTube. So I request all the participants to give your valuable feedback before leaving the meeting. Now, I would like to call upon Professor Rashmi Umarji to propose vote of thanks.
Thank you, Fasiha ma'am. Good afternoon. Myself, Professor Rashmi Umarji, on behalf of Department of BCom and BBA, Dayananda Sagar College of Arts and Commerce, extend my sincere thanks to our beloved chairman, Dr. Hemachandra Sagar. I would like to acknowledge my gratitude towards our Vice Chairman, Dr. Premachandra Sagar. I like to express my gratitude to Secretary Sri Swami. My special thanks to today's guest speaker, Professor Rajendra Kumar, for sharing his valuable knowledge towards career planning and guiding our students. Thank you, sir. It was an enlightening session, not only for students, but also for teachers who wants to prepare and succeed in competitive exam. I extend my sincere thanks to Principal Dr. Nagaraj Shranai. I would like to give my hearty thanks to Vice Principal Professor Hemant Uppala. I like to express my gratitude towards HOD, Professor Murugesh BN, HOD Department of Commerce, Dr. Sushma K. Podar, HOD Department of Management. My sincere thanks to all my faculty colleagues and my dear students who made this event a grand success. Thank you all. And please give your feedback in the thing. This feedback form will be shared in the chat box. Please give your feedback. Thank you, one and all present in the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request all the participants to give your valuable feedbacks. Already feedback link has been shared in chat box. Kindly give your feedback, valuable feedbacks. Now I request all the participants to turn their camera on. All the participants are requested to turn on their camera just to take one photo session.